The mummy is in a very bad condition because of what Carter did in the 1920s, said Zahi Hawass, Secretary General of Egypt's Supreme Council of Antiquities, as he leaned over the body for a first long look. Okay, so the mummy, when actually you must be clear with two things that in 1920s it was Howard Carter, the British archaeologist, who did the discovery, who actually found the body of this tute. Fine. And after 80 years, as it is also discussed in the introduction of the chapter, fine, after 80 years in 2005, this Jahi Hawass, he is again the British archaeologist, and he found again the body of King Tut, and he with his team put the body inside the CT scanner for the virtual images of the body. So when Jahi Hawass with his team went inside the Valley of Kings, and over there, when he saw the mummified body of King Tut, the first thing that he expressed was that the mummy was in a very bad condition because of what Carter did in the 1920s. So now you will think what actually Howard Carter did in 1920s. Let's see. Howard Carter, that is, was the British archaeologist who in 1922 discovered Tute's tomb after years of futile searching. L. He discovered this Howard Carter discovered this coffin of King Tut for couple of years. Fine. Around 10 to 15 years he searched, and after the futile searching of so many years, finally in 1920s he got the coffin of King Tut. Its contents, though hastily ransacked in antiquity, were surprisingly complete. But no matter, you know, the Valley of Kings over there, there were just so many royal kings and queens whose body were buried inside this Valley of Kings, and many thieves over there, they always time to time they try to ransack or loot the gold things and precious objects from the Valley of Kings, because they are very much clear that the bodies are preserved with the gold artifacts. Fine. And even here, no matter, from many years, many looters try to loot the antique things from this coffin, but when he searched everything, everything seems to be complete. They remain the richest royal collection ever and have become part of the pharaoh's legend. Each and everything, whatever was preserved, it whether it was regarding the daily use objects or some other artifacts or some gold accessories, some amulets like that, everything seems to be complete inside the coffin of King Tut. So, the King Tut's legend seems to be the richest royalty ever found. It was the richest collection ever found in the coffin of some king or queen. Stunning artifacts in gold, and inside that coffin there were many uh, gilded things. Gilded is related to gold or made of gold, being created with gold. Their eternal brilliance meant to guarantee restructure. Now what is restruction? It is to reborn again, fine, or take a birth again, relive. So all the bodies of dead kings and queens always buried with the gold objects, because it was a myth in Egypt that the brilliance of gold will attract the soul one day, and one day the soul will reborn again with the same features, with the same things, because of because of the attraction of this metal. Okay, so caused a sensation at the time of the discovery. It actually stirred the attention of everyone at the time of discovery. People were very much in awe when they came to know that archaeologists are going to discover the coffin of King Tut, and everyone reached there in order to see the artifacts, the antique things being preserved from so many centuries. But uh, and still get the most attention. Even these days, the King Tut and its body always get the most attention. But Tut was always buried with, but Tut was also buried with everyday things he would want in the afterlife. So the Tut's body was actually buried with the things which he use every day, like board games, a bronze razor, the linen undergarments, cases of food and wine. So everything was preserved with his body, the basic necessities that the king might need one day when he will come back, or one day when he will reborn. After months of carefully recording the pharaoh's funerary treasures, Carter began investigating his three nested coffins. It must be mentioned also that the king's body was preserved in three different coffins. So, after the months of recording all these funerary treasures, funerary is related to the last rites of someone who is dead, and treasure is related to the riches, wealth, fine, like khazana, fine. So, after recording each and everything, whatever was found from inside that coffin, finally he went to search for the three different coffins. And first, he opened the very first coffin, and he found a shroud adorned with garlands of willow and olive leaves, wild celery, lotus petals, and cornflowers, the faded evidence of a burial in March or April. Okay, so when he opened the very first coffin, he found a shroud. A shroud is actually a cloth which is used to cover the body of a dead person. Fine. And then he found that over the shroud there were the garlands which are made from the flowers as mentioned, like willow, olive leaves, wild celery, lotus petals, and cornflowers, and which surely indicates that the burial was done in March or April, because this is the season of such mentioned flowers. Fine. These flowers usually bloom in the month of March or April, so this becomes the indicator that the body was preserved in April, or that the last rites were performed in the month of March or April. When he finally reached the mummy, though he ran into trouble. So finally he reached to the body, the preserved body of King Tut, no matter there were so many troubles that he faced in the process. The ritual resins had hardened, cementing Tut to the bottom of his solid gold coffin. It is also worthy to mention here that even the coffins of King Tut were made of gold. And then finally, when Howard Carter finally got the body, he opened the coffin, the gold coffin, he opened it and saw the body was being kept inside that coffin. But the problem came that because of the chemicals being coated over the body, in a way, because Egyptians wanted to preserve the body, fine, they wanted to preserve the whole body of King Tut. That's why they used the chemical and other resins to coat over the body in order that the body may be preserved for centuries. And when finally he reached, he came to know that the ritual resins, the chemicals, the last rite chemicals, they have completely become hardened till now, and because of that, it is completely stuck at the bottom of the gold coffin. No amount of legitimate force could move them, and obviously one cannot easily take this body out of that coffin. Carter wrote later, and then in his report, in his report on the research of King Tut's body, later he wrote what was to be done. What could be done by us when the raisins were completely hardened and the body was completely stuck at the bottom? What could be done then? The sun can beat down like a hammer this far south in Egypt, and Carter tried to use it to loosen the raisins. Then, the very first idea which he used was the excessive heat of the sun. First, he thought that maybe the glaring sun can work wonders and helps to loosen the raisins of that body, and in that way it will be easily come out of the coffin. For several hours, he set the mummy outside in blazing sunshine. That's why he kept the coffin of that King Tut outside in the blazing sunshine, in the glaring sunshine, in the sunshine that heated to 149 degree Fahrenheit. So he kept the body in the hot weather in the sunshine so that probably the raisins may loosen and the body will easily come out of the coffin. But nothing budged, nothing changed. Not even a single thing changed. He reported with scientific detachment that the consolidated matter, the matter which was used to coat the body of King Tut, had to be chiseled away from beneath the limbs and trunk before it was possible to raise the king's remains. Then the last thing which the option which was left for Howard Carter was only to chiseling away the body with the sharp tools. Fine. So he thought that I need to chisel away the body with the help of sharp tool, and with the help of hammer I need to chisel away the body with the stroke of hammer, and I need to take this body out in anyhow from that coffin. In his defense, and Carter really had little choice, then obviously there was no choice for Carter. So, in his defense, he wrote such kind of things. If he hadn't cut the mummy free, thieves most certainly would have circumvented the guards and ripped it apart to remove the gold. So he further expressed, in his defense, he further expressed that obviously I need to take the preserved body out of that coffin because thieves can easily come to that place. They can easily give harm to the guards, and then they can easily rip the gold from that coffin. So in a way he wanted to make sure the safety of that preserved body. That's why he took the decision of chiseling away the body out of the coffin. In Tute's time, the royals were fabulously rich, and they thought or hoped they could take their riches with them. So this is again the second myth of Egyptian princes and royal families. Obviously the royal families from the time of Egypt, that dynasty was really very powerful, and they used to live in they used to live such wealthy and luxurious life. And there was a thought, there was actually a myth that they can take their riches, their rich life to their next life. That's why their bodies being or their bodies were always being preserved with the gold and other valuable things. For his journey to the great beyond, King Tut was lavished with glittering goods, precious collars, inlaid necklace and bracelets, rings, amulets, a ceremonial apron, sandals, sheath for his fingers and toes, and the now iconic inner coffin and mask, all of pure gold. See, this is the list of things which were being buried with the body. So it goes like that. For the next journey of King Tut, many things made of pure gold were being preserved with his body. And there were many things. There is a list of things, precious things like the collars, necklace, fingers, toes, sandals, fine sheets for is like rings for the fingers and rings for the toes. Then there was one apron, then amulets, fine bracelet strings. I mean, there were so many accessories made of pure gold which were kept inside the coffin of King Tut. To separate Tut from his adornments, Carter's men removed the mummy's head and severed nearly every major joint. And obviously, in order to take the body out of that box, out of that coffin, the Carter's men, what they did, they nearly cut the major joint of King Tut's body. First, they take out the head, and then they separated the every major joint, and then they take out all the major joints, and this way they took out the body. They actually chiseled away the body from that coffin. Once they had finished, they reassembled the remains on the layer of sand in a wooden box with padding that concealed the damage, the bed where Tut now rests. And after doing such damage to the body, finally what they did, they put a layer of sand and one wooden box. They took the wooden box inside, they kept the sand, and over there they reassembled the different body parts of King Tut in order to hide the damage. They did the this padding, and after there they kept in a very wise way, they kept the body parts over that sand layer in order to hide the damage which was done to the King Tut's mummified body. Archaeology has changed substantially in the intervening decades. No matter, archaeology has truly changed in the coming decades, the way archaeology is using its mediums, its sources, the different things, tools in order to do the research on the body, it's completely changed, focusing less on treasure and more on the fascinating details of life. And these days, nobody is focused on treasure mode, but they want to know about the past life. They want to capture all the minute details of life and death of a person. And also, they are interested in intriguing mysteries of death. Also, they want to know the hidden mysteries of death. It also uses more sophisticated tools, including medical technology. And now, these days, obviously, researching the body in that way, we people use the modern advanced medical technology, the sophisticated tools. The modern tools are being used in order to know the mysteries of life and death of the past. In 1968, more than 40 years after Howard's Carter's discovery, an anatomy professor x-rayed the mummy and revealed a startling fact. Beneath the raisins that cakes his chest, his breastbone and front ribs are missing. Okay, so after the 1920s research, then in 1968, near about or approximately 40 years after the Carter's discovery, there was one anatomy professor. What he did, he x-rayed the mummified body of King Tut, and he revealed one amazing fact. He told the people that under the raisins of under the raisins which applied over the chest, the breastbone and the front ribs, two things are missing from the body of King Tut. Then today, in the time of 2005, Diagnostic imaging can be done with the computer tomography or CT, by which hundreds of x rays and cross section are put together like slices of bread to create a three-dimensional virtual body. See, but now, with the passage of time, as usage of sophisticated tools are being changed day by day, and these tools are being evolved day by day. So now, with the CT scanner, with the help of the CT scanner, a person's body, we can collect so many hundreds of x-rays, so many images of these x-rays, in which we can also create one virtual body, in which we can easily see from the skull, from that skeleton of King Tut, in which way his face looks like. Fine. And then, what more would a CT scan reveal of King of Tut than the X ray? And could it answer two of the biggest questions still lingering about him? So he said that okay, X ray, apart from whatever the X ray can done in order to research the body, can CT scanner take a step further in order to know, in order to answer the two biggest questions which are still lingering, which are still left? The first, how did he die? The reason of death, which is a biggest question for the archaeologist, and how old was he at the time of his death, and can we know exact date of, exact age of King Tut from the CT scanner? King Tut's demise was a big event even by the royal standards. He was the last of his family line, and his funeral was the death rattle of a dynasty. But the particulars of his passing away and his aftermath was unclear. Obviously, it was pretty clear that the King Tut's death was a big event. Why it was a big event? Because the way the body was coated, the way body was adorned with the different gold accessories, and the way people made three different gold coffins, and then they also preserved the daily goods which are being used in daily life, the basic necessities which are being preserved with the body of King Tut. So it was truly a big event. And moreover, he was the last heir of his family, of his strong, powerful family. He was the last prince, he was the last pharaoh of that powerful family. So, his funeral, at his funeral, it was actually a big event for everyone. But the particulars, the details in which he passed away and what happened afterwards is pretty unclear. Thank you.